Me and Chris Candido announced on television that we would go to Stamford, Connecticut on Halloween as our favorite WWF wrestlers, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
And nobody knew, honestly, nobody in ECW knew. I kept getting asked from Perry Saturn and Taz and all my buddies in the company, who you going to be? Who you going to be? Who you going out as? And only Chris Candido I knew. Francine didn't know. So we go into the dressing room, we get changed, and I gave Chris the Dean Douglas unitard, which emphasis on the word tard. And he gave me the Buddy Donna's unitard, same thing. And we wore Lone Ranger masks to the ring. So Chris Candido went to the ring as Dean Douglas, and I went to the ring as Buddy Donna Chris, and the rest is history. The best part of that whole angle that night was we go to the ring. The place was packed in Stamford, Halloween night, and I'm not sure of the year, but the place went crazy because we go to the ring doing our usual shtick. Shawn Michaels' music hits, and the place comes to their feet. And Blue Meanie comes dancing out of the dressing room wearing chaps and doing the Shawn Michaels intro better than Shawn Michaels did it. And honest to God, it was damn near impossible to keep from busting out laughing because Meanie is so brilliant at comedy and was so hilarious that he came out. So I'm guessing that was the whole question, but if I missed anything, bring it up in the question. I apologize for stepping on you.
I just want to sneak in for 1 second. Me and Chad were talking about before. We're like, I bet you Shane doesn't even remember ECW Halloween Hell 97. And you came out and you remembered basically to a T the beginning part of the question. Yeah,
everything. There's more. I'd love to hear it. It's funny because, I started to wonder with all the chair shots over the years, like sometimes I think my name's Joe or Tom, but I get stuff like that from 100 years ago that I remember with precision accuracy. So is there more to the question?
No, Steve, the question was, what he basically did was he sent in almost verbatim what you just said. It was the whole thing about coming out in the singlets, Meanie coming out, the Shawn Michaels music, the crowd going crazy. Actually, it was the place erupts but it's just Blue Meanie in leather chaps and Nova in a dark green bathrobe. Shane and Candido beat them up, take off the outfits to reveal their usual Shane and Candido gear. But the question was, did you have to get any kind of approval from Paul E. to do that since he was on WWE payroll, since you were in, obviously, their backyard in Stamford, Connecticut?
Yeah. To my knowledge, I never asked Paul for permission. I don't know if Chris did. I doubt he did. But that's how ECW was. We just sort of came up with an idea, floated with it. Paul interjected very little once a storyline or a character was launched. And that was the beauty of ECW, was that Paul didn't interject and say, well, don't do that. You can't be that. You can't say that or do that or wear that outfit. That wasn't the way ECW ran. That's what, to me, made ECW so special, was that, Paul would put something up and we were allowed to come up with creative juices for whatever it was we did. And, the results speak for themselves. Now, I won't go on record as saying that every single thing you saw on ECW television was done by the talent. Nothing was cleared with Paul Heyman. I don't mean that for a minute. But as I remember pretty clearly, as you saw with my remembering of the facts of that, I don't recall ever going to Paul. To me, even as I sit here today, I would have found it demeaning to have to go clear a humorous angle with Paul Heyman in a town, whether it was Stamford, Connecticut, or New York City. And so I'm positive I never got clearance from Paul. I'm guessing, I can't speak for Chris, my guess is the same thing because Chris was like a little gremlin, and that night I remember Chris vividly in the dressing room. Like his gremlin ears and teeth were out. Like he's pulling one over on somebody, and that was Chris. So no, I don't believe that we got permission for it, and I think Paul Moore would, knowing things as I know them now, Paul would have dealt with that politically on the backside and said, hey, it was a house show, didn't know what they were doing, and could say that and be serious with it. He wasn't lying to Vince. I don't recall getting clearance from Paul, and I don't believe that Chris would have, although I can't speak 100% for Chris.